What's up, folks? So, I'm bored and I don't have a lot of ideas today, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about some video games, man, because every once in a while, people ask me about some video games, and I got a bunch of messages about Modern Warfare 2. Did you play it? Do you like it? What do you think? So I'm going to talk about that. I'll talk about two big games this year that I've played, enough to give you a review on, or at least my opinion, and some other game-related things that we can discuss. The first game we're going to talk about is going to be Modern Warfare 2, which, since I bought it off Steam, I don't have a box or anything, but it'll be represented by Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare box. It'll be the sequel to this. Any of you, if you haven't played any of the Call of Duty games and you're a first-person shooter fan, then there's something wrong with you. If you're not a first-person shooter fan, then that's whatever, because you don't give a shit anyway. Alright, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, I have this on the PC, and not on the 360 or the PS3 or whatever, so I don't know anything about the console versions. Anything I say does not apply to that, because I haven't played it. I don't play first-person shooters on consoles anymore because I've determined... my friends have been trying to tell me for years, and I didn't believe them, but a mouse and a keyboard is far superior to a controller for playing those kind of games. So Modern Warfare 2 is going to pick up the story 5 years after the story in Call of Duty 4. Now, all the other Call of Duty games, besides the Modern Warfare, have all been based on historical things. Fictional characters, but within a historical story, so they had something to work with. Modern Warfare, this is a new fiction. Alright? And the story of Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, was okay. Alright? It was decent. It was acceptable. It was somewhat believable. It was okay. Alright? The story for this Call of Duty is retarded. Okay? That's the number one thing I don't like about this game. The fucking story is fucking stupid, okay? You have to piece together a bunch of shit for yourself, and if you didn't play the Call of Duty 4, you're not going to understand some of the shit that they talk about as far as the story goes. Now, if you don't care about the story, that's fine, alright? I know a lot of people are like that, but I like getting involved in the stories in games. It gives me more of a reason to want to beat something or earn more things, so you feel like you're doing something. The story's fucking retarded. If they could have just thrown in like a fake news story to explain something, just a little bit more to fucking explain what was going on. Spoiler alert. Basically, what happens is, through a series of events, these Russian guys frame the Americans for this massacre in a Moscow airport, so this causes Russia to invade the United States or something. And they don't explain like anything that happens in there. It just happens. Okay, there's no explanation whatsoever. The voice acting in the cutscenes or like the pre-game, the loading screens where they explain the story is fucking terrible. The dialogue for General Shepard, all the shit that he says is fucking stupid, and I can tell that somebody in Infinity Ward thought that they were writing really revealing things about the human condition and warfare when they wrote his dialogue, but it's not. It's just fucking stupid. A lot of stuff that he says doesn't make any sense. I can see it appealing to the kind of people that get huge erections when they watch Black Hawk Down, but as for the rest of us, it's not going to do it for you. Now, the actual campaign is fucking cool. It's really, really short, but every level is entertaining, and there's some new thing thrown in there. It kind of feels like, at some points, that Infinity Ward was coming up with new, like, cool things to do and building levels around them, which it wouldn't be that bad, except that there's so few levels, alright? But I guarantee you that every level will be entertaining, okay? Now, the multiplayer. This is where the problem comes in for a lot of PC players. And all the reviews, all the user reviews and everything on Metacritic and on IGN's website and on the forums on the Steam for that game, filled with haterism. Because This Call of Duty does not have dedicated servers, and it's set up pretty much like Xbox Live, and that sort of takes away any of the advantages of playing multiplayer on a computer. So that pissed a lot of people off. I found that it's fine. Like, I read some negative reviews that said that people were getting matched on servers on the other part of the planet, and that the game was constantly matching them up places where they had terrible ping. But I've not experienced any of these problems. I've never fucking had any lag, no problems whatsoever. So I maybe it's just them, but I haven't had any of these problems. Now, if you 100% can't handle not having dedicated servers, and I recommend you don't buy the game. But if you just want to fucking kill a bunch of people in fun multiplayer, get this game, because the multiplayer is fun. You get rewards for almost everything you do, which at a certain point kind of becomes annoying. It seems like anything you do can be considered an achievement, but whatever. There's a lot more guns in this game. Unfortunately, it's missing some of my favorite guns from the last game. Unless I just haven't seen them yet. I haven't seen the G3. I don't know where the fuck it is. If it's there, I haven't seen it yet, but I want that gun, because that's the best gun in the last game. I don't really give a fuck what any of you say. But there's tons of guns. So if you like tons of guns, and you're gonna have fun with this. There's lots of attachments. They've added machine pistols, a new class of guns. There's new submachine guns. New assault rifles, new sniper rifles. Unfortunately, they got rid of some of the better sniper rifles, like the R700. I believe the R700 is the best sniper rifle in the last game. That's gone, unfortunately. As far as I understand, there's only one bolt-action rifle in this new game. But overall, it's a good game. If you're getting this just for the single player, I would recommend that you wait a couple months before they drop the price down to $50 or $40 or whatever, because right now it is $60. And while the single player is fun, I don't agree that the single player alone is worth $60, because it is simply not long enough. I beat the first time through, mind you, I hadn't even played Call of Duty in months. I was really rusty. The first time through, I beat the game in 4 hours. Okay, on hardened, I beat it in 4 hours. So, if you're looking for this just for the single player, I recommend that you hold off. But overall, it's a good game. Now, there's some controversy over this game because of this one level that's apparently extremely offensive. The game even warns you when you first start it up that there's an offensive level. Do you want to play it? Yes or no. And at any time when you're playing the level, you can skip it, and there's no penalty. You don't. It's not like you can't continue without playing this level. And what the level is you participate in this airport massacre. Now, it is quite violent. All right, I'm not going to deny that. But having played all the Grand Theft Autos, I'm responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians. So adding a couple hundred Russians in an airport is not really that big of a deal on my body count. But it is kind of disturbing, and that's part of the reason why this game is rated M for mature. It's not for children. I wouldn't recommend this game for children. For a young child, like a 12-year-old, it's a bad idea. That's why it's rated for adults. All right. But I'm sure people are going to make a big deal, and I'm sure the people in probably Brazil is going to freak out too. They've gotten angry at people for video games and movies and stuff as well. They'll probably freak out about some of the levels that take place in Brazil, but you don't have to suffer because everyone's a fucking pussy. All right. So overall, I'd say that's a good game. The other good game that I played, new game, for this holiday season is Dragon Age. And since I also bought that game on Steam, I'll represent it with the strategy guide right here, which I purchased because this game is hard. Okay. By the way, this strategy guide sucks. Don't buy this strategy guide. All right. I didn't know how shitty it was. This is the Prima official strategy guide. Don't buy this. Okay. It's 98% useless information. But this is the Dragon Age is a hard game. Dragon Age is an RPG, and if you've played any of BioWare's previous RPGs like Mass Effect or KOTOR, it's going to be very familiar to you. It's the same kind of setup. It's the same focus on party dynamics and dialogue with your party members. All the dialogue is fully voiced, all right? And you can skip through it if you want to. You don't have to sit here and listen to all these people talk. But there's tons of dialogue options. It feels like you're having a somewhat realistic conversation with these people. More options, more interesting options for conversation than any other game like that I've played, except for maybe Mass Effect. Now the story is pretty basic, sort of. It's your basic fantasy story. There's no orcs, but there's darkspawn, and they kind of take the place. There's mages and dwarves and elves and humans and whatnot, but it is a very dark world. This is not a World of Warcraft kind of thing. The darkspawn wants to kill everybody. The elves are slaves and treated like blacks were in the 30s by the humans. The dwarves are almost completely wiped out, and their society is set up with this weird caste system. There's religious fanatics everywhere. It's a dark universe. It's an adult game. All right, there's a lot of adult concepts going on in this shit. Again, and it's rated mature, not for children. And I don't want to ruin any of the story for you, but it's interesting. All right, it's not gonna blow your mind or anything. It's not breaking new ground as far as fantasy stories go, but it's acceptable. The graphics are good, or as good as they could be expected to be. The combat works well. It's a good game. All right, it's not a perfect game, but it's a good game. If you like RPGs, I recommend that you play this game. Now, it is hard. All right. I started the first time I started playing the game. I played as a mage, and I had to restart and play a warrior because it was just too fucking hard. It was. I had to restart shit over and over and over again. So if you don't have a lot of patience, I wouldn't buy this game because you will put it down and stop playing it. Any fight you're in could kill you if you aren't paying attention. All right. So be aware of that learning curve. There's a lot of talk about how you can play these battles in real time, but if you're playing on anything other than easy, you're not going to be able to. You're going to lose if you try to play these battles in real time. But it has an in-battle pause system that allows you to issue commands to all your people. It's well set up. All right. So I would recommend that game if you like RPGs, and if you like BioWare games, you're gonna like this. So that was my reviews on some video games, or some opinions on some video games. I was just watching the news, and they came on talking about how the Wayne County prosecutor or something, for some reason, put out a list of violent video games. Why the Wayne County prosecutor is doing that, I don't fucking understand. But they put out a list of violent video games, and it was quite a funny list. The first game on the list was Manhunt. Now, I don't know if you remember, but Manhunt came out like 4 or 5 years ago. This is not a holiday blockbuster game, okay? It's not available. It's an old game. To even discuss it is kind of retarded. But they put Left 4 Dead 2 on there, and all these other violent video games. And they didn't even mention at the end of this story that these games are rated for the parents to understand. But video games catch a lot of slack like this all the time. I think we're going to see this whole suspicion towards video games kind of dissipate as the video game industry continues to make more money, and once it does actually pass Hollywood in revenue, I think we'll see the influence of the game developers and publishers increase in the media. The problem is that the mainstream media still views video games as for children. But the simple fact is that most video games are directly marketed to males age 18 to like 35. They're not marketed towards children, okay? Mostly because children don't have any fucking money. But games like the Modern Warfare 2 or Left 4 Dead 2 or whatever, these games are not advertised on Nickelodeon, and they're not advertised on any show that children will be watching, or at any time of night that children would be watching the thing. So it's quite obvious that these games are being marketed towards adults, and the media hasn't caught on to that yet. another couple of years they'll start to figure it out. But the thing about not even mentioning the rating system, that's the thing that pissed me off, because video game rating system is actually quite good. Like the movies have rating systems, but they don't explain why in the same way that a video game does. So if you look at a video game, you're going to see, okay, it's rated mature. All right, it's going to say mature 17 and up, but then it's going to tell you why. All right, so it's going to say blood and gore. It's going to say intense violence, strong language. So you get some information. So if you're a parent and you're looking at a game and you're like, oh, it's mature. Oh, it doesn't look that bad. Well, why is it so bad? Okay, there's some language. Well, I can deal with that as long as it's not too violent. Then you buy the game for the kid. If it's a game for rated 10 and up, it might say cartoonish violence or something, or crude humor or something like that. There's an explanation for the content, so it really can and should be a good guide for parents if they could actually read. But it seems that most Americans can't fucking read. And I mean, they allow things in movies that you wouldn't be able to get away with in video games. Like a 17-year-old can go see a rated R movie that has tits in it, but if a video game had tits, like actual full nudity, it would be rated adult only and wouldn't make any money because nobody would sell it. So it's not even the same basis. Video games are rated harsher than movies. All right, there's more control. So if concerned parents should understand that there is more control. So I don't know. It's all fucking retarded. But there's some discussion about video games, and that's my answer about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Don't ask me any more questions, and stop asking me about Assassin's Creed 2. I haven't played it. I don't even know if it's out yet. I haven't played it, and I'm not going to buy it because I don't have any money for it. So don't ask me about that anymore. All right? So I'll talk to you folks later.